In today's world of conflict, information warfare, and constant escalation, one decision can change the course of history. On August 22, 2025, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko shocked the world with a revelation. He claimed that Russian President Vladimir Putin was offered a plan to strike the very heart of Ukraine's leadership. President Volodymyr Zelensky's office on Bankova Street in Kyiv, with Russia's most advanced intermediate-range ballistic missile, the Oreshnik. But Putin rejected this offer. So, what was Putin's actual response? Why did Putin reject this offer? Why doesn't Putin want Zelensky's outright destruction, while Zelensky openly wishes for Russia's destruction on the face of the earth, Putin's downfall? Welcome to TFI Global. Before we explore the political implications of this revelation, let us first understand the weapon at the center of it all, the Oreshnik missile. It is a hypersonic intermediate-range ballistic missile with a range between 3,000 and 5,500 kilometers. Capable of traveling at speeds exceeding Mach 10, it can carry a 1.5-ton warhead, including a nuclear payload with up to 900 kilotons of explosive power. In plain terms, this missile is already nearly unstoppable. It can evade NATO's best air defense systems, strike targets across Europe in minutes, and serve as both a shield and a sword in Russia's military doctrine. Western analysts already call it a game changer, and when Russia first used the Oreshnik in November 2024 against Dnipro, after Ukraine attacked Russian soil with US, ATACMS and British Storm Shadow missiles, the world saw just how devastating and precise this weapon could be. For Belarus, a close ally of Russia, the Oreshnik represents security. Lukashenko himself requested its deployment in Belarus back in December 2024, citing NATO troop buildups near Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia. And indeed, Putin hinted that by the second half of 2025, serial production would make deployments possible. The Oreshnik, then, is more than just a weapon. It is a message, a warning to NATO that Russia is prepared. According to Lukashenko, the proposal was simple but explosive. Strike Zelensky's office, Bankova, in the heart of Kyiv. Such a strike would have eliminated the command center of Ukraine's leadership. It would have been a symbolic declaration of total victory of Russia with just one target. And yet, despite the suggestion, whether it came from military strategists or political insiders, President Putin rejected it outright. His words, as quoted by Lukashenko, under no circumstances. Why? Why would the leader of Russia, demonized in the West as ruthless and aggressive, choose restraint when handed such a powerful option? The answer lies not in weakness but in wisdom. Let us consider the consequences had Russia chosen this path. A strike on Zelensky's office would not only kill Ukraine's president and decapitate its leadership, but it would also almost certainly provoke direct NATO intervention. It would hand the US, Germany, and the European Union the perfect justification to escalate. Putin understands this. He knows that Russia's war is not just against Ukraine, but against a larger Western alliance. And by rejecting this strike, he demonstrated something that his critics rarely admit: strategic patience. Lukashenko himself admitted that such a strike would leave nothing left of the site. Yet Putin's refusal shows that Moscow is not seeking to annihilate Ukrainian leadership, Zelensky in one blow, but rather to control the battlefield, step by step, avoiding reckless escalation. Experts say Russia is not using their full strength in Ukraine because Putin doesn't want destruction, as Putin considers Ukrainian-Russian as one. This decision portrays Putin as a leader who holds back even when he can unleash destruction. Now, let us contrast this with how the West portrays Russia. Western legacy media constantly paints Putin as a dictator obsessed with conquest, a man with no regard for human life. Yet here we have an example confirmed by his closest ally of Putin, refusing an opportunity that many Western hawks themselves would have taken without any hesitation. Let us not forget, it's not Russia, it's NATO, US repeatedly targeted foreign leaders in the past. From Libya's Gaddafi to Iraq's Saddam Hussein to Iran's Soleimani, Washington has never hesitated to eliminate its enemies directly. So the question must be asked, who is truly the warmonger? The timing of this revelation is not accidental. In just weeks, the Zapad 2025 military exercises will begin, featuring scenarios with the Oreshnik missile. NATO is watching closely, nervous that these drills could mask real preparations. By revealing that Putin rejected a strike on Zelensky's office, Lukashenko is hinting at something deeper. Russia does not want escalation, but it is fully capable of it. This dual message of restraint and readiness is central to Russia's strategy. NATO is forced to ask itself, if Putin refused once, will he refuse again? Or was this a warning shot, a way of saying that Moscow's patience is not infinite? Ultimately, Lukashenko's revelation is less about the missile and more about Putin. By rejecting the strike, Putin is portrayed not as a madman but as a leader who weighs consequences, who prefers stability over chaos, who acts not on impulse but on calculation. And in war, patience often wins. So what does this all mean? It means that even when given the chance to strike at Ukraine's very heart, President Vladimir Putin chose not to, not out of weakness but out of strategy, not because Russia lacked the power but because Moscow understands the consequences of escalation, the world war. And that is why, despite all the noise, despite all the propaganda, Russia continues to hold the upper hand. This is not the story of a missile, it is a story of a leader who knows when not to pull the trigger. Thanks for watching.